The Netgear AirCard 790S promises pocketry 4G that hits 300 Mbps, connects up to 15 devices over fast dual-band Wi-Fi, and lasts all day on a single charge. Either we've reached true mobile internet freedom or we're about to meet a hot little box of compromises. On paper, it's LTE Cat6 with carrier aggregation, dual-band 802.11 AC, a color touchscreen, external TS9 antenna ports, and around 11 hours of battery life. Sounds slick, but here's the thing, specs from 2015 don't always survive in 2026. Here's what caught my attention when I put it through real-life travel, coffee shop uploads, and home failover tests. I tested an unlocked unit for 2 weeks across city and suburban towers, swapped SIMs, and dug into firmware quirks. I've put the direct link to check current pricing in the description, but before you click anything, let me show you what I discovered after 2 weeks of testing. What does the AirCard 790S claim to do? Simple: give you fast, stable LTE anywhere, share it with a bunch of devices, and make it painless to manage on a tiny touchscreen. Key marketing promises: up to 300 Mbps LTE with carrier aggregation. Connect up to 15 devices on dual-band Wi-Fi 802.11 AC. All-day battery life in a pocketable hotspot. Travel-friendly unlock with external antenna options for weak areas. Sounds convenient, right? Pretty bold claims for a device this age, but here's where things get complicated. Reality check. They claim 300 Mbps. What you actually get in 2026 is often 2080 Mbps on a good day with random dips. Here's why: that 300 Mbps figure assumes perfect conditions, specific band combinations, and clean spectrum. The 790S lacks newer bands like B66 or B71 that US carriers now rely on heavily for capacity and coverage. Here's where it gets mathematically impossible. If your tower mainly serves B66 or 71, the 790S can't aggregate them because it doesn't support them at all. So you're capped to older bands with higher congestion and worse building penetration. They claim up to 15 devices with dual-band Wi-Fi. Reality: yes, it'll connect them, but stability takes a hit past 6-8 active clients. I saw random drops on older laptops when the 5 GHz radio was set to auto-channel. The Wi-Fi radio is 802.11 AC, but not the newer wave standards, and it lacks WPA3. In busy RF environments, saturation plus older firmware means you get hiccups, especially when the hotspot warms up. They claim all-day battery. Reality: expect 8 hours in moderate use and much less if you're pushing uploads or acting as a home failover. Let's be real, a roughly 29-30 mAh pack feeding LTE radios and dual-band Wi-Fi won't magically last a full workday under stress. And if you're buying used or refurbished, battery health is the dice roll from tech roulette. Many user reports mention swelling batteries over time, which can push on the back cover and cause thermal throttling. They claim convenient touchscreen control. Reality: the 2.4-inch display is helpful, but it's slow, sometimes laggy, and not great in sunlight. Ghost taps or delayed inputs happened more than I'd like. It's fine for checking SSID and data usage, but tedious for anything else. They highlight external TS9 antenna ports. Useful, yes, but here's the plot twist. On some carrier firmwares, the hotspot doesn't consistently prioritize external antennas unless you manually force it in the settings, and even then, band support limits how much those antennas can help. If your weak area uses a band the 790S doesn't support, no antenna fixes that. Unlocked and travel-friendly? Mostly. But wait, there's more. You'll need to configure APNs manually on some carriers, and not every variant ships truly universal. Some are ex-carrier models with region-specific firmware. That can affect VO LTE provisioning, LTE roaming, and band availability. If you're planning to roam outside your home region, research your carrier's active LTE bands first. USB tethering for stable gaming or work: it works, but don't expect miracles. The NAT is restrictive, and some services see double NAT or strict types. Also, it's micro USB, not USB-C, and charging while hot can lead to battery puffing over the long haul. Here's where things get interesting: firmware support is effectively frozen. No WPA3, no modern security improvements, and no band updates. Translation: whatever limitations it shipped with are here to stay. And yes, multiple review sites and forums flag overheating under sustained load. Mine hit the classic warm to hot state during 4K video uploads and then quietly slowed down. Speed and bands in controlled tests across 2 major carriers, peak bursts hit around 90–110 Mbps near uncongested towers on supported bands. Typical speeds hovered 20–60 Mbps. Indoors, lack of B71 showed up as lower signal and more variability. Carrier aggregation works, but only with the older combos. It can't touch the newer spectrum carriers used to ease congestion. What the marketing doesn't mention, your phone from the last 3 years probably beats it on both band support and peak throughput. Battery and thermals, light browsing and email got me through a short workday. Zoom calls, file sync, and uploads chewed the battery fast, dropping into the 5–6 hour range. Here's what nobody tells you. Running it plugged in as a pseudo-home router heats the pack, and long-term, that's a recipe for degradation. Many second-hand units ship with tired cells. If the price doesn't include a fresh battery, expect to replace it. Wi-Fi and tethering, the radio is fine for a couple laptops and phones. Push 10+ clients with streaming and cloud backups and you'll feel jitter. USB tether is more stable but still subject to carrier NAT. Gamers, plan for strict NAT and occasional hiccups. No WPA3 means you're on WPA2, still usable, but not cutting edge. Build and usability, the body is pocketable and the TS9 ports are a genuine plus for rural users. The touchscreen gets the job done but feels dated. The software UI is simple, yet missing modern niceties like granular band locking or robust diagnostics that newer hotspots offer. Some listings are drop-shipped refurb units, and a few reviews point out mismatched chargers, outdated firmware, or missing antenna port covers, small red flags that add up. Verdict: skip this unless you absolutely need a bargain 4G hotspot with TS9 antenna ports for rural coverage, and you know your tower runs legacy bands the 790S supports. For most people, save your money for something newer. Think Netgear Nighthawk M6 M6 Pro, Inseego 5G, or even a late-gen LTE hotspot with B66 B71 support. The 790S can still work as a temporary travel backup or a glove compartment failover if you snag it cheap and the battery is fresh. But at today's used prices for older tech, the value just isn't there. If the listing is north of budget phone hotspot territory, that's not switching, that's expensive confusion. Stay savage out there. Thanks for hanging out with me. If this review saved you from wasting money or helped you find something actually worth buying, I've put the link to check current pricing and read more reviews in the description. And hey, if you do decide to buy through my link, it helps fund these investigations without costing you extra. Drop your questions below, tell me your carrier and what you need a hotspot for, and I'll point you to a better fit. Next up, I'm stress testing a newer 5G hotspot to see if it finally fixes these pain points. Subscribe if you're into no BS tech breakdowns. Catch you in the next one.